Okay, welcome back to Marvel Mondays on the A&M podcast. I'm Mike, and
Brandon.
it's a little different than the I'm Alyssa and I'm Mike, but we got to do something we got to still figure that out, that
Yeah,
part of it.
yeah.
Um,
I'm
so
Marvel and
this,
he's Mondays.
yeah, that's right. So by the way, I'm sporting the Iron Man cup. This is the official mug of Marvel Mondays for me. Don't know if you have an official Marvel Mondays mug yet, but you can work
Man,
on that.
Jeep.
So, by the way, based on last week's episode, your new name on the show will not be Brandon. It will be Bro on the bottom. So
Mm. It's
let's,
okay. It's B. It's B if we want to do the MNB
yeah,
Marvel
yeah,
Monday.
yeah, that's right. So, so this week we wanted to, I think, kind of continue the talk from last week about Daredevil Born Again season 2. We're now, I guess the no,
That was
the
the
day after.
penultimate. No, it was the penultimate episode.
Right, right.
The
I was gonna,
tomorrow after this is posted will be the finale.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
um, so we thought this week it'd be fun to talk a little bit about what happened last week because there was a lot that happened last week, and give our thoughts on what's coming up on the finale, and then what's coming up. I've read some things that have suggested that like the real season finale of Daredevil Born Again is actually going to be the Punisher one shot. So we'll see if that
Hmm.
turns out to be true. But what did you think of last week's the penultimate episode?
Hmm. Yeah, it was good. Um, it was starting off from the beginning. The one thing that I thought was interesting and kind of cool. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong, throughout all of the Netflix series, there was never a mention, because they were separate, there was never a mention of the Avengers, anything happening in the MCU, or if
Yeah,
it was very like subtle from what I understand.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's fair. Like they didn't. I don't think they talk. If they did anything, they mentioned like actually. I just started watching um Jessica Jones, and there's like a passing mention of what happened in New York. That's the same kind of thing that there was in the
so kind of
original
like Agents
Netflix.
of Shield after or around the time of Infinity War, where they didn't know what was going to happen, so they just had
Yeah,
to sort of act like it's still in the same universe, but we can't really mention anything.
yeah,
But I liked it the beginning, and I think they did in episode one where you saw Avengers Tower. But when they were showing in the beginning, they showed the new Avengers Tower because you saw the different additions to it.
yeah.
I thought that that was really cool because it's truly bringing Daredevil into the MCU.
Right.
Um, so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah. I
feeding,
had.
especially into Doomsday, that you're
Yeah.
seeing. It's a reflection, a different world that we're moving towards.
Yeah, and I hadn't noticed that. I actually saw it like somebody had mentioned it online. I hadn't noticed it like during the show.
Oh,
So
really?
that was
That
kind of
caught
an
my eye right away when I saw it.
yeah, yeah. I have something on my glasses lens and it's driving me crazy. It's always tough because when we're doing these because like I know more people I think catch the YouTube version than catch like the audio only version on Spotify or any of the other podcast platforms. But
Mhm.
it's still difficult because like something like that, that doesn't play very well on audio. But yeah, so what did you think of the by the way, if you haven't seen last week's episode of Daredevil Born Again, you're gonna hear spoilers on here. We've now
Mhm.
warned you. What did you think of the I would say unexpected death um in uh in this week's episode? What were your thoughts on that?
Um, yeah, so I thought one, I knew when he was driving BB to the house apartment, whatever, you knew that that was a setup from the
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah,
I thought that one, to your point, I thought that um, I thought Bullseye was gonna come in and be the one to kill. Was it Beth?
Right.
But then um, you had mentioned before that like Phoebe could have been the one to come in or
Yeah.
something. But
Yeah.
thinking about it in retrospect, I think that it made more sense that he gave her the out, he gave her the escape, so she's probably just running, trying to get as far away from like Fisk and all of his minions.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. When that scene was going on, I thought it was going to go one of two ways. I thought either Buck was going to, because, there was that scene previously where, um, the character who is the psychiatrist and that Matt was
Hmm.
dating at the beginning of the season. I
Hmm.
thought that, or I'm sorry, that was last season. But I thought that because there was that scene between those two where he was saying, he actually likes Daniel and that.
Hmm.
I thought he was actually gonna let Daniel go. I thought he was gonna, kind of tell him the same thing that he told BB just to, run.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I was kind of, I was a little bit surprised when he actually did shoot him. Um,
Yeah.
but the scene you had mentioned, Bullseye, the scene where he was the one that got there to save the governor,
Hmm.
that I totally expected. Like when I saw that there was somebody showing up in her, in her office to try to kill her, I
Hmm.
immediately knew. I thought this is where Bullseye's going to show up.
So the part that I guess like I was wondering was how did Daredevil know that they were going to be going to the governor?
Yeah. So there was an earlier scene where somebody told Matt that was going to happen, that they were
Hmm.
going to go after the governor. I think was it Jessica Jones? That might have been in the
With that
Jessica
one,
Jones
yeah.
scene that she told him that something about that, and he said, so they're going to go after the governor, or something to that effect, or Fisk is going to go after the governor. And then there was a later scene where he was in his apartment with Bullseye, who was like still recovering and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
And he kind of said something in passing to him about, what I need you to do, or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that part. I must have missed the part where she had said that he was going to go after the governor.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Um, Speaking on Jessica Jones, I know there were like kind of references to Luke Cage, but I like that it was called out by that Mr. Charles that Luke Cage was somewhere else in the world or is somewhere else
yeah,
in the world,
yeah.
and that it sounds
Doing,
like he went there instead of like they gave the option of it was either him or her, and he was the
right,
one who went. Uh,
right.
Getting into even more spoiler territory from leaks, uh, stop listening if you care about that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, we already
The
warned them. That's okay.
the leaks that they were saying for season 3, where Luke Cage is like on set and everything, and he's going to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Wondering if we'll see him in the finale.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, because the whole Mr. Charles thing too, they're saying that ties into, uh, I can't remember her name. Wow, my brain is like blanking tonight.
Oh,
We're doing this
Val,
episode.
Val.
Val, right? Val.
Yeah,
That all ties into Val, which kind of ties into the new Avengers. So, going back again to the MCU tie-ins, they're a lot tighter in this version than they were in the previous Netflix
hmm,
um Daredevil show, or really any of those shows, I would say, because like obviously they weren't as closely tied. They were very loosely tied to the MCU for a long time. They argued whether or not those shows were even part of,
yeah.
616 canon. So, clearly they
That'd
are
be a
now.
little. That'd be a little bit of foreshadowing too, with that shot of the new Avengers Tower, if it
Yeah.
does end up tying in some form
Yeah.
to Val.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny because like these like more street level, shows like this, like it's got to be difficult to make shows like that fit into something like the MCU where you've got, you've got Captain America and you've got Iron Man and you've got Thor, who's from, you know, a whole other, you know, the whole other planet. You know what I mean? Where you've got all these
Mhm.
like kind of, you know, just way out there things going on. You're trying to make these, you know, these characters that, well, we're just, you know, fighting crime in the streets. You know, we're fighting like street gangs and that kind of thing. Like it kind of feels like, well, gosh, shouldn't they be worried about like bigger things? You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
But it goes back to the line from what was it? The first Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Homecoming, where, you know, can't you just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? You know, stay closer to the streets, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I guess that's it. Like even in that kind of universe where you've got all this stuff going on, you still need, you know, people to fight for the little guy. So
Yeah. See, but it does make you wonder though, like somebody like Fisk is, they're shown enough now that clearly the whole resist and rebel, like that whole movement, that people
right,
aren't happy with Fisk.
right,
Like, where is a Spider-Man? Where is, like,
right,
honestly, like a team like the new Avengers or even the non-Z Avengers?
right.
Um, like,
Yeah, the
where are
non-Z.
those?
Right,
Where are those
right.
guys to actually like stand up for
Yeah.
the vigilantes in this sense, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, you know, that's exactly it. Cause
But
let's
I
face
think
it.
they've struggled with that since like what Iron Man 3 or even like Captain America Winter Soldier, where it's like, so Captain America is just out there fighting the Winter Soldier and like Iron Man's not coming to help him, or
Right,
you know.
right. Yeah, it's like they have to be. Well, he was busy doing other, you know, he
Hmm.
had other things going on, you know.
That's
Yeah,
the
that,
whole
but that's it.
Fury. Remember Fury's Big Week? That whole thing. I think that takes place. Is it Iron Man 2, Thor, and First Avenger, or something like that, where they all take place within a week
Oh,
period?
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like that's a really good explanation for why, they're
yeah,
not showing up and why like all of these moving parts are happening is because it takes
yeah,
place in a certain time period.
yeah. And that could be the same with this too. It could be like,
Hmm.
well, this is actually going on while all the stuff that's about to happen in Doomsday is beginning to happen, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, and with the Luke Cage thing, I think it's interesting that first of all, I think it's really interesting. I feel like with this stuff, nothing gets out that Marvel isn't okay with getting out. You know,
Hmm.
like the set photos that have gotten out where it's actually shown him and the Danny Rand, you know, Iron Fist character
Hmm.
and that showing up in the same you know the in that episode, like I think that's where kind of you know those kind of things just they're not unintentional, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I feel like they're okay with that stuff getting out because it'll create some buzz for season 3.
Hmm. The thing that you had mentioned about the picture they posted, where basically Matt's in his prison attire.
Yeah,
Like they
yeah.
wouldn't be letting them post that if they weren't okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope anyway. Like they seem to be really protective of that stuff, so you would hope they wouldn't, especially if it kind of would be spoilery for anything else going on in the MCU, like what's about to happen in Spider-Man Brand New Day. You know,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
would hope they wouldn't let that kind of thing get out if that was the case. And that kind of I think leads us into the you know thoughts of what's going to happen um tomorrow on tomorrow's episode this week, the season finale.
Hmm.
um that is, how do you think Matt's going to end up in prison? And
Hmm.
also, because there was the other thing, and this isn't really a spoiler, it happens in the trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day, where Spider-Man's getting the key, and we talked a little bit about that last week, but Spider-Man's getting the key to the city from the person who's deputy mayor right now.
Hmm.
So it makes you think that something's going to happen to Fisk,
Hmm.
whether he steps down, whether the whole situation with the governor ends up with him being removed from office, which is my theory. That's going to have something to do with it. Not necessarily that she removes him from office, but that um, well, because she was actually talking to the attorney general, so it may be a matter of them wanting to bring charges against him. My theory is he's going to go on the run somehow.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because if you think of those set photos again that have come out from season 3 with him
Hmm.
dressed looking kind of like, a homeless
Maybe.
person or
Yeah,
something with a
because
long
yeah,
beard, and like
yeah.
he's not dressed like, present day Wilson Fisk,
Hmm.
So that's my theory is that he's going to end up being on the run, um, trying to, not get arrested or whatever. And that's why the deputy mayor is going to become the mayor. I'm struggling with how, in that scenario, though, Matt ends up in jail.
Hmm. The line I keep going back to is when Matt told him, like, if you leave New York, I leave New York, something like that.
Right.
And that's the line I keep going back to, that I'm wondering if it's almost a situation where they both just agree to go separate ways.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not sure how that ends up with Matt going to jail,
Right.
unless it's something like um, almost like in uh, Far From Home, No Way Home, where Peter's exposed as Spider-Man. If it's
Right.
that, he gets exposed as Daredevil and the whole vigilante thing, or charges are brought against him, something
Right.
like that. Um, I'm wondering if
Yeah.
that is what gets him put in jail, and then maybe Fisk can step away, or maybe it'll
Right.
happen in your what you're saying, that the governor goes after him and
Right.
gets exposed as Daredevil, and maybe that all happens.
Right. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Like him being confronted, or that could be like his play could be to expose Matt as Daredevil, and that's why he ends up in jail. That would make maybe some sense. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's we'll find out very soon. And then I'm wondering also though if Punisher is. I've read some things that have suggested that Punisher might show up in the season finale, um, which I would think maybe at least being that like 1 week later the Punisher one shot is on, I would think that at least there might be like a post credit type scene or a
Yeah.
final scene of the episode where he shows up, kind of like his escape at the end of season 1, where that was like a post credit scene with him, luring the guy over and breaking out of one of Fisk's little cages there.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah, I'm anxious to see, and it's kind of neat because right now I feel like things with the MCU in general are really ramping up because here we are with the finale of season 2 of Daredevil, Born Again. Um, there's already, I think season 3 technically is maybe already done filming, but it'll be coming out around the same time as season 2 did next year. Um, so that's going on. Then we've got the Punisher one shot. Um, then we've got and just going, but let's talk about the Punisher one shot, man. I think going by what what the trailer for it shows and some
Hmm.
of the things I've read, it sounds like it's going to be him trying to get away from being this guy who just goes around killing people,
Hmm.
but in the end kind of realizing that that's just who he is, which is kind of
Hmm.
funny because that's the same conclusion that he kind of came to in seasons 1 and 2 of the Punisher series, the Netflix series. So it's
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah.
a rehash of that. I think it's more going to be a vessel to try to bridge the bridge between Daredevil Born Again and Spider-Man Brand New
Hmm.
Day.
I'm thinking of it as almost a reintroduction of the character to prep you for him showing up in uh, Brand New Day.
Right. For people who maybe didn't see the character on the original Netflix series. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean I feel like where they're going though with these series now, with them bringing Jessica Jones back in and with them bringing, because originally the stuff I had heard was that for those other Netflix Marvel series, they weren't going to like necessarily bring back those original actors and that. And so the fact that they are is really interesting to me because, you know, again, like I feel like there was a following on those shows, and I didn't watch them when they were originally on, but I feel like there was a following for those shows, a deserved following because they were all really good shows.
Hmm.
That I think they were really concerned about uh, kind of, you know, damaging that by just kind of recasting the whole thing, you know, within a relatively short time frame of things that happened during the time frame of the MCU.
What's interesting is it's not even that they're just bringing back the original people who played those characters. Um, from like what I've been reading, they're referencing moments in the shows as well.
Right,
Like there's moments in Born Again that are referencing things that happened
right,
in the Netflix series. So I think that
right.
that's pretty cool too, because it's almost establishing that yes, those things were all 616
Yeah, yeah,
happening inside of
exactly.
there. Or if they didn't, you know, that those shows took place in a universe that had all the same events leading up to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Very similar to 616.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when they call
that's a
it
good point too.
616 adjacent.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. 616 adjacent. Um, yeah, so that and then I guess how long after the how long do we have till Spider-Man Brand New Day? That's in
It's like mid-July, I believe.
mid-July. Okay, so we got a little bit between there.
Hmm.
There's going to be a small gap in there. I think what we should do on here in that gap, unless there's a bunch of news coming out every week or rumors and that we can, you know, come on and talk about, is maybe we can go back like, well, more for you than for me because I've watched them, but and talk about some of those series or talk about maybe we'll do some. I think we could do some like top 10 MCU moments kind of episodes, maybe something like that. We'll think about something clever to do. I mean, again, there's still going to be
Find
things
maybe
going
find the
on.
stuff leading up to Doomsday. Find the movies that they're saying are the most important leading up, and
Yeah,
how we think they'll tie in.
yeah, that's a good. I am anxious to see what the additional scenes in Endgame are going to be that they're
Hmm.
saying, you know, are gonna kind of tie into Doomsday. Like I wonder that is it going to be, you know, stuff related to like Cap at the end when he goes off to
Hmm.
return the stones. Is there going to be something that they add in there, you
Hmm.
know, that shows something?
Yeah,
Um
I'm wondering if it's actual it's scenes in the movie that they're saying are going to be important, or is it going to end up just being, you know, a new end credit scene that's added
oh,
in
right.
there?
Right, that
Because
could be.
from the wording, it made it sound like they said new scenes,
Right. Right. So
but
yeah, have they done like they did with Star Wars where they, you know,
yeah,
added young Anakin to the end of Return of the Jedi? Is it going to
yeah,
be that
yeah.
kind of stuff? Like, yeah. Well, so here's one theory that I heard, and I don't know if this is true. I don't know if it's even based on, you know, rumors or whatever, but it was that there might be a scene, um, basically like showing Pepper somehow preserving Tony's body because you know if you think about, did we talk about this last time, but if you think about the end of Endgame as we know it, you
Hmm.
never see his body, you see the hologram of him, you see you know his
Yeah, the arc
arc
reactor just
reactor.
being sent off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, with the proof that Tony Stark has a heart, you know, that whole thing. Um, but you know they don't show what happened to his body, so there's one thing that says that basically she has it preserved somehow in case he could be, you know, revived, that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
like if that was the idea, maybe that has something to do with it, and that will play into, you know, why Doctor Doom looks like Tony
Hmm.
Stark, or if they're not even really going to go there.
Yeah. Um, do you want to talk about the quote unquote leaked trailer
Oh,
and
the
what we think of that?
yeah, yeah. So when I give your thoughts first.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if it was a real thing, we wouldn't have even seen it. Disney
Yeah,
would have took it down that quick.
yeah.
Um,
By the time we heard
but
about it, it would have been gone.
yeah, yeah. But I do think that the from people who were at the event, who saw the trailer, they gave their descriptions. I think it's very likely someone took that and then created it through one of the AI platforms. But with that said, that gives you an idea of what the trailer will end up being. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and I had seen one that somebody who did see the one at CinemaCon had done using like the Lego characters,
mhm,
like they had made one like that, which I thought was hilarious. But I'm also wondering, is it somebody who did see it who did that? Because I will admit, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this is the real thing. It looks like, to your point, exactly like scene for scene what they described the one at CinemaCon like. But then when I watched it again after you and I talked the first time about it, I did notice that the fight scenes did not look authentic. They had that AI kind of, you know, I can't quite describe what the AI look is, but they had that
mhm,
AI look to them. They didn't look like authentic, MCU fight scenes,
mhm,
or even movie fight scenes. So I think you're right. I think it was a AI fueled imitation of what the actual one is. But if it was created by somebody who saw it, it may be,
mhm,
close. Like, yeah,
mhm,
you're right. We're probably seeing what's in that. Just it's like the, at court, how they have like the person there that sketches and it never quite looks
mhm.
right. It doesn't look exactly right. It's kind
Yeah,
of like that, I'm thinking.
yeah. And I'm wondering too, because the angle that it was at and like how close they were to the screen, I feel like they were probably very strict on not having any cameras or phones or anything during that
Yeah,
moment.
yeah,
They
yeah,
would have saw that person recording it too.
yeah,
But I'm wondering if they did that one for the leak to make it look like an official leak, but also to hide those imperfections that you're saying. You can mask it a little bit by making it
right.
lower resolution, at an angle, all that.
Yeah,
With that said, I would like to see the actual, like, if it is all AI generated, I'd like to see the actual clip of it. Because again, it would give you an idea of what the trailer looked like at the very
yeah.
least.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. I think the whole thing of, well, you're exactly right. It's multi-purpose. The thing of it being at that angle. The first one is to make it seem like they secretly videotaped this during the screening at CinemaCon,
Hmm.
but it also serves the purpose of, yeah, giving them a way to make the resolution a little bit worse and make it look a little, they can add some graininess to it so that those fight scenes that don't quite look right,
Hmm.
maybe you don't notice it. I didn't, again, the first time it didn't catch my eye until you and I talked, and I was like, yeah, that's probably fake.
Hmm.
So,
I'm just wondering when we'll get the actual trailer. I'm wondering
yeah,
if it'll be in time for Spider-Man to be
right.
out for that in theaters,
That
or
I had read something that said it could be at the during the NBA finals. Um, which we'll see. I don't know. It could be that, but it might make sense for them to have something in Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I'm also curious about, because I haven't heard any leaks on this yet, what the end credit scene to Spider-Man Brand New Day will be, because it's got
mm,
to be something related to Doomsday. I mean, I don't see how it couldn't be.
yeah, yeah,
So I think that's it for this one. Lots going on in the MCU, so continue to check out our Marvel Mondays, because maybe we'll have something on here that you didn't already hear about, and if we don't, maybe you'll just like kind of our thoughts on everything. So keep listening, keep watching.
yeah.
Bye.